Hi everyone, my name is Madeline Barlow. I am the sports psychology performance coach at Drexel University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Today we're going to be talking about self-awareness. It's one of these topics that I believe you can't do much without. When working with athletes, when working with people in businesses, things such as that, just performers, basically. You need to have this sense of self-awareness in order to just get by, at the least, right? So the purpose here is to use self-awareness to enhance our performance, specifically here in sport. So we're going to be going over a couple things today, starting off with who. So who can we control, right? We want to think about, can we control others? Or is it just ourselves? The answer, if you didn't know, is yourself. You can only control you. So that's a really important facet of increasing self-awareness. When you have this sense of control over what you're thinking and feeling, you're more often to see how that can translate to better performance. So that leads us into the what. So what is self-awareness? Basically, it's this self-perception. So you are seeing your own thoughts, your own feelings. You're paying attention to your behavior. You are noticing things about your personality. And you're also being able to acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses. That's a really important component of self-awareness as well. So now moving quickly to the why. Why do we want to have an enhanced level of self-awareness? So more often than not, it's going to empower an athlete or a person. So that way we're giving them this sense of accountability for what's going on up here and how it's influencing their performance as well. It also gives you something to check in with, right? So you can bring yourself into that present moment of what's going on for me right now. And then it also allows you to be more proactive rather than reactive. When you're able to acknowledge or be aware of your thoughts and feelings, you're better able to respond to them in a more neutral or positive way, rather than a negative or reactive, volatile manner. So that's really important to know as well before we kind of get to the how. So how can we enhance this? How can we make this better for personal reasons and for all individuals and what have you? So I typically work with athletes in a more applied way. I like to make it fun. I like to show them how it can be applied, right? Or what we can do in that moment. So the first activity I like to do with athletes, so I'm going to ask you to do this along with me, is create your own traffic signal. Okay. So we've got first our red light up top, our yellow in the middle, and finally our green. Okay, so when it comes to this traffic signal, you're going to take a couple minutes for yourself and start off with the green down here at the bottom. What's going on for you when things are going right? When you are just playing, you're not necessarily overthinking it, okay? So what does that look like for you? It's going to be different for everyone. That's really important to acknowledge. So what's happening when things are just good? That's your green light. And then we don't have to overthink that too much because it just is what it is. Next, we have the yellow light, okay? Maybe you're making a first mistake. Maybe the weather's not great, it's raining. That's kind of putting you in a not so great place mentally, physically, okay? And again, that could be leading to mistakes in a way. So you want to take that moment to acknowledge what's going on that gets you in a yellow zone. Because then if we're not able to acknowledge our yellows, we tend to move towards the red light. We know what red lights mean. They mean stop. They mean not good necessarily. So if we're getting to that red where we're getting frustrated, maybe if you're a tennis player, you've thrown a racket, right? or you're a swimmer and you've thrown your goggles up against the wall. That would be red. So what gets you there? Think about that for yourself. Take a couple minutes to spend some time thinking about what would put you there. And once we are aware of this, once we know, we are more often able to react in a positive way, or respond is the better way to think of it, to keep us in green. So that's always the goal, to keep us or get us towards green. Okay? And so one other activity that's small, it takes but a couple minutes, you're going to get out a note card. Okay? And on one side, you're going to write, very simply, why? Why do you do what you do? What gets you up in the morning? Maybe jumping in a cold pool, maybe going out on the field when it is raining or it is really cold and you can see your breath. Okay? Why do you do what you do? Why do you play your sport? Knowing that, again, paying attention to these reasons, to the purpose behind what you do, is another way of not only self-awareness, but helping you to just stay committed to what you're doing. So that's a really small activity that I've had athletes do. Keep it in your bag, keep it in your locker, look at it every day. All you gotta do is write it down. Write it on that note card. And the overarching thing that goes along with all of this, why? Again, why are we doing this? Why is this important? And what can this lead to beyond all of this? And that is this. So this is the take home here. This is what we're looking for. We want to get you to be able to be responsible or accountable for your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior, how it leads to your performance down the line. Because when you can do that, you're better able to respond, to refocus when it really counts. And that's what sport is about, to have a good experience, but to take accountability for your own experience as well. So I hope this has helped you. It's moving you towards having this increased sense of self-awareness. And this is something you can apply to your daily life just as much as in sport. So I hope this was useful for you. And I thank you so much for taking the time to learn about this with me.